For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Attention HR managers and business leaders. Want to boost productivity, reduce absenteeism, and show your team that their well-being matters? The Lightroom now offers custom corporate memberships designed to enhance energy and mental clarity, reduce stress, and improve overall health, creating a healthier, more focused workforce. Invest in your team's well-being because a thriving team leads to a thriving business. Visit thelightroom.ky to learn more. It's a new era in wellness.
When I first started going to Healthcare Pharmacy, it was because it was convenient. But over the years, I continued to shop there because I trusted them. One day I was picking up my prescription, and the pharmacist noticed an over-the-counter medication in my basket. She said, "I hope that's not yours. It will interact with your prescription." And I thought, wow, thank you. Trust is so important when it comes to your health. Healthcare Pharmacy with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governors Square, where they care about my health.
There's nothing more important than your health, and seeking expert healthcare with physicians you can trust is what you deserve. UHealth, the University of Miami Health System, offers peace of mind to you and your family with a first-class experience. Our patient coordinators assist with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. As South Florida's only academic-based health system, UHealth offers cutting-edge treatment, compassionate care, and life-changing results just a flight away. Learn more at umiamihealth.org/international.
Hello and welcome to For the Health of It. I'll be interviewing Miss Claire Gray. She's a midwife at HSA, and we're going to be talking about the breastfeeding support group and how you all help mothers. Mm-hmm. Hello and welcome to For the Health of It.
Hi, thank you very much.
So, what do you think is the misconception about breastfeeding?
Most people think, a lot of people think that they can't do it. It can be difficult, and it's hard if they don't have support, if the mothers don't have support. So that kind of misconception where, they don't have any milk because they don't see it instantly. It's not quite the same as, making a bottle and being able to feed that to your baby. People want to be able to see what they can do, and because they can't see it right there, they find that difficult. They want to have that, being able to look at it. So it's about supporting the women with that, to be able to understand how their body works, what they can expect when they're breastfeeding.
Yeah, and I think we think just because we're women, we're just naturally good at something, mm-hmm. and that would be something that's innate,
Yeah.
But babies don't latch on,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and we make that all about us.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
How do you work with them to
do that? Women put a lot of pressure on themselves
yes.
to get everything right,
Yeah.
and society put a lot of pressure on women to get everything right. So going into being pregnant, giving birth and then having baby and then breastfeeding is a lot. So, stress plays a big part. So we remind the women, especially when it's their first baby and it's their first time, you've never done this before. You may have read every book in the world that you could about it, but your baby also hasn't. So, your baby's brand new. They do have all these instincts, but, they've also never done it before. So they have to, you have to learn about each other. It can be difficult, in the first 6 weeks of motherhood is, sleep deprived, can be a bit painful, stressful, and breastfeeding, adds into that. And as I say, women are pressured, to make things good and have it right. And especially in this day and age, people want everything just like that.
Yeah, we're instantaneous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, instant. We have to press a button and get anything we want. And that can be hard when things don't go right immediately. So, it's about that support, learning, doing a bit of research, reading, getting as much information as you can about breastfeeding, like during pregnancy, prior to, and then uptake of all the support that you can once the baby's here.
Thank you. Thanks for normalising that,
mm-hmm.
because I think women, I've never had a child, but I've known,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The pressure.
Oh, it's so hard.
Mm-hmm. I've, 2 sisters, and I've seen what they've put themselves
mm-hmm.
through.
Yeah, the stress, the stress can affect everything as well. So
of course, yeah.
It's very normal. It's very normal.
So how can hospitals and clinics in Cayman help to build a sustainable system to support breastfeeding beyond the first few weeks?
Beyond the first few weeks. So, it's providing that support. At HSA, we have the antenatal clinics and parent craft classes. So women who come to see us get to see midwives right throughout their pregnancy, and they talk about breastfeeding from the start. They have a class that a parent craft class that's specifically designated about breastfeeding. We give lots of information. We direct them to different websites that have lots of things. And again, then once you've had the baby within the hospital, midwives, we're trained as breastfeeding experts. Many of the midwives are there, myself included, are lactation consultants. So have done a wee bit extra training with regards to breastfeeding, and it's about utilising and picking up that good support, and the breastfeeding support group as well, that we give every woman information about that when they leave the hospital. You can go online to HSA and the information is there to point you in that direction. And it's just about actually utilising that support to make it sustainable, including friends and family in that. When you need support, you need your immediate people, not just the health workers. So it's, getting them involved from the start, so it's not going to be a surprise to them too.
Yeah, another thing is, can mothers in this phase be more conscious of what helps to produce more milk? I know we're told to stay away from alcohol because the baby can get a little buzz.
Mm-hmm.
Although some women might just make them get the buzz so they can sleep. I don't know. But is there a food that's a no-no, like it'll stop the milk, or one that helps with the milk?
There's nothing really that you can't have, and even now the latest research has shown that alcohol isn't a big no-no.
Okay.
We used to advise women to, what we would say is pump and dump, but the amount of alcohol that passes through, because it passed through the liver first, is very minimal. We don't advise, obviously, women having a good old party time and then being drunk feeding their babies, because that's inadvisable. But it's there isn't really anything that you shouldn't eat or drink. What you will find is that some foods, will flavour your milk and different things. Some women will tell us about their babies being a bit gassier after they've had certain things, like maybe strawberries, broccoli. Any foods that would maybe potentially make you a bit gassy can often make babies be a wee bit more uncomfortable. And women are very quick at identifying that if I've eaten the same thing, what have I had? I've had that, and I've had a lot of that. So maybe to try and avoid that just for a little while, or replacing it with something else. Foods that help, there's lots of different supplements and things. You Google and it'll tell you lots of different things. Fenugreek's a good one to increase your milk supply.
What's that?
Fenugreek. It's a supplement that to help milk supply. But really a good healthy diet, healthy balanced diet, and plenty of water. Plenty of water. It's very thirsty work. Your body's doing a huge amount of work making your milk for your baby. So just making sure that you're drinking plenty. And when you're breastfeeding, women need about 500 extra calories a day as well. So, it's adding them in. A donut every now and then is fine, but, making sure that you're keeping it nice and healthy. Nuts, vegetables, fruits, good foods to keep that supply up.
I know we live in the Caribbean, but I know so many women and men that don't drink nearly enough water.
Yeah, really, really nearly enough water. It's so important. Your body really needs it. Even out with breastfeeding, just for every day, dehydration. And as I say, the body's doing a huge amount of work to make the milk, so it's very important to drink plenty of water.
How can hospitals and clinics in the Cayman Islands better support breastfeeding mothers, especially in those critical first hours and days after birth?
Making sure they have trained staff. Like midwives, as I say, we're trained as breastfeeding experts. And, making sure all the hospitals and all the clinics have breastfeeding experts. It's very easy for women to take advice from their friends and family culturally who have made, passed down the line that isn't up to date, that's not relevant to breastfeeding. So it's important that the hospitals and the clinics have, the staff that are there to be able to give them that evidence-based knowledge, really up to date, so that they know that they have that good support. And in those first few hours is encouraging the mums to bond with their baby in the simplest terms. Is like skin to skin contact is so important right after the baby's born, and that really helps increase the breastfeeding rates. Mum and baby just being allowed to have that time, just them together, and most babies will eventually figure out what to do by themselves. Without much help from us. Sometimes the more we interfere, the harder it is for them. If we let them do it, they kind of figure out by themselves. So then they gather those skills by themselves easier. So it's about having that support. The partner, whoever's there supporting mummy, for them to be aware of what it takes to be able to keep breastfeeding going, so that they're on board. Some cultures are very much like, there's no milk within the first few days. So you don't need to breastfeed. Just give them a bottle until your milk comes in. Where actually, that's not the truth. That's not how it is. You should have the baby breastfeeding as soon as, because the more they feed, the more your supply increases from the start. And it's about asking for that supply to be there, like supply and demand almost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is this truth or fact that when women breastfeed, their breasts, become
bigger, smaller, saggier?
Yeah.
All of it. All of the things. So when women are pregnant, they put on weight all over places, and they obviously are growing a baby. The boobs tend to get bigger, the breast tissue gets larger because they're putting on weight. Then when they're breastfeeding, their breasts become milk production, they come enlarged, they do get a bit bigger, so the skin stretches. Now, not everybody. It depends on the elasticity in your body. Women will say, after they've done breastfeeding, once the milk supply is gone, yes, they'll go down a few cup size, maybe a cup size or so, just to go back to normal. Gravity is not our friend. As with everything, anything that gets big, that then hangs and will sag. So, it's
going to happen.
It's going to happen whether or not you're breastfeeding, because you're putting on weight and you're pregnant, your boobs get bigger, they then reduce in size. So there's always a change in everybody's body shape. And it's just about wearing good supporting clothing, good supporting bras as well when you are breastfeeding.
And you could not have a child and your breast will still sag.
Yeah, absolutely. So gravity is not our friend as women.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hormones play a big part as well.
Yes. What's one policy or practice you wish every healthcare facility would adopt to promote breastfeeding?
Making sure that their staff are qualified in breastfeeding, that we have across all the clinics across Cayman, all the hospitals have midwives, have lactation experts there who are qualified in giving breastfeeding advice, and making sure that that's within the policy as well. UNICEF have lots of information, but they run a programme like Breastfeeding Friendly, where hospitals can aspire to be called a breastfeeding hospital. Now, what that entails is that there's no formula within the hospital at all, which can be quite unrealistic, So to many hospitals across the world, what they have done is they don't provide formula. So that could be something that's maybe looked into as a policy, is we provide, all the hospitals in Cayman provide formula for the occasion if women want it. Many women will bring their formula with them as well. But it's very easy access if it's right there for you. If you've had a tough night and you think, I'm just going to give my baby a bottle because I'm a bit tired. So whereas if they didn't have it with them, they would have to put their baby to the breast. So possibly a policy like that might be something to think about. It's hard though, because it's a big cultural shift to not do that.
Okay. Why is it important from a nutritional point of view, and maybe even immune, for the baby to breastfeed?
So the breast milk is made specifically for your baby, with your baby in mind, and it provides them with not only nutrition but protection against. They get all of your protection there. So everything that you're protected against, they get the same thing. It helps reduce their risk of eczema, asthma. It reduces the risks of obesity for babies as well. Reduce the risk of diabetes. So, even from that very first start, for babies, it gives them the best start in life onwards. And then for mums, it reduces their risks of diabetes, breast cancer, osteoporosis, ovarian cancers, all the female cancers. It helps them lose weight a little bit as well, you know, because they're using up more calories when they're breastfeeding. So in the long term, for both babies and the mums, you know, they would be healthier and having to spend less on their own health care and less on the health care as a whole in the long run. You know, the money that's spent on diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular, all of these things can be, not eradicated or anything like that, but the risk would be reduced by simply breastfeeding.
Right. What is one low-cost but high-impact change employers can make to support nursing mothers?
Providing them with somewhere to go to either breastfeed if their baby's brought into them, but most likely to express. So when mums return back to work, they may have 12 to 16 weeks maternity leave, and that's not very long. You know, we're recommending breastfeeding for 6 months exclusively with nothing else. So, you know, when you're going back to work and you're still wanting to breastfeed your baby, it's having a safe space to be able to go and express, and storage. So, you know, that could just be like a small room with a good fridge in it. You know, that's not a big cost, where they can go and express and store their milk for their baby for the next day while they're at work. That would be really good.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of stunned to hear that babies don't even need water.
Nope, they don't need anything. Breast milk is so extra specially spectacular. It changes to accommodate what your baby needs throughout the day, never mind as they grow older. So like the baby will go to breast for a drink, it will go to breast for a snack, you know, like we would go to get a yogurt, they would go to breast for that, you know, and then we would have our dinner at bigger meal, they'll do the same thing. So the breast milk changes throughout the day for that.
I didn't know that.
If it's warmer, like it's obviously warm here all the time, but on a hotter day the breast milk produces more water to satiate, to hydrate the baby. So like throughout the day, so like on an hourly basis, it's changing to accommodate. It's a very beautiful symbiotic relationship that baby, breast and mummy all have.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I hope people are hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to employers who want to support breastfeeding employees but don't know where to start?
I would say to them to get information as to what it is, you know, why do they think they want this? What is breastfeeding all around? Once people understand how good breastfeeding is for them, then they're able to do more about it. And just being able to, you know, have a look around where they are. What can we do? Where can we accommodate? You know, what could we utilise this little space for? It doesn't have to be big. So just to look around, see what they can do. Speak to the mums, speak to the people who are pregnant, who had the babies or have had babies. You know, what is it that you would like? What is it that you would need? You know, where would you like to have this? What do you think we can do? You're asking the people who are involved their advice.
Yeah, we have a breastfeeding room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and we were trying to do a dual, you know, one for a mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought we could turn it into a dual spot, but we couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because when a mother needs to breastfeed,
Yeah.
she needs to breastfeed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Otherwise, she gets in trouble. So I would say definitely, you know, have a space.
A space, yeah.
Just for that.
For that,
Yeah.
for sure.
That was something we learnt. And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't take a lot.
No,
They just need a chair,
Yeah,
a comfortable chair,
That's it. Mm-hmm.
and somewhere where they can store their milk.
Yep, that's it. It's not much.
Yeah. How can we engage fathers and grandparents and siblings to create a culture where breastfeeding is everyone's responsibility? That's a tough sell.
Yeah. Education, knowledge, you know, that is key. I know I keep saying that, but really that is what needs to happen is, you know, fathers, the partners need to know exactly what it's going to entail. You know, why is my wife doing this? You know, she's going to be responsible for that. There's not much he can do there. So then knowing what he can do out with that, how can he help support her with that is really good. You know, again, speaking to your family, this is my plan, this is what I'm going to do, you know, and here's the reasons why. You know, having a little bit of information just to show people. UNICEF breastfeeding website has some beautiful, very easy read, very nice nice pictures, not even lots of words, easy to understand, leaflets for everybody to look at, or things online to look at. But it's making sure that your family are aware, and then giving them jobs of what they can do to help support you out with that, and siblings especially, older siblings, when a new baby comes into the family, can be a bit jealous, and especially if this baby's taking up a lot of time, mummy's having to sit and do that. So it's about involving them, while you're breastfeeding, you can read a story, get them to bring you a little book, but saying, mummy's going to be spending a lot of time, doing this, doing that, you can help me do this. So it's just getting everybody involved and giving them the knowledge beforehand, making them know what they can expect, so it's not a big surprise.
I mean, and think about it, the finances too, my God.
It's so expensive for formula
Yeah.
and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, so I would think if I could do that, I would do the natural because of the health benefits.
Health benefits, it's cheaper, it's easier. Your baby wakes in the middle of the night, you roll over, pick them up, put them on the breast. The hormones that you produce while you're feeding are sleepy hormones. They make you feel sleepy cozy. They go to the baby feels sleepy cozy. They go back to sleep, you go back to sleep. When you have to get up in the night time to go up and make a bottle, there's lights that have to go on so everybody's awake, so
Right.
it's easier for that respect. It's hard work, it's a skill you'll have to learn. We don't expect everyone to know it with the minute the baby's born, but it's a skill that you learn, but it's beneficial. It's so beneficial.
I know we probably touched on this, but what is one myth about breastfeeding you've had to unlearn to be a better ally?
Maybe not so much having to unlearn it, but the big sort of myth about breastfeeding, one of the big ones, quite cultural. Many cultures believe that the first few days, when it's colostrum that's produced, so it doesn't look like milk. It's much thicker, it's much stickier. Call it like liquid gold. It's kind of like goldy yellow in colour. Many cultures believe that that's dirty because it's not milk, but actually it's like liquid gold, filled with fat, filled with calories. It sets the lining of everything. It starts that building blocks of immunity, protection, lines the gut all the way down, protects your baby. It's very important. And, as I say, some cultures believe that, they shouldn't breastfeed for the first 3 to 5 days until the milk's out. So they're just like, we just don't do that. They get rid of that. They'll pump that and get rid of that. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
So it can be quite hard. You're like, no, your baby really needs that. That's the good stuff. Let's feed your baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
It mightn't look pretty.
It's not. It's just that I'm not sure where it has stemmed from. It's gold, and it's like gold, but it's thick and it's sticky. It's not produced in huge amounts. And again, I think as a whole in the world, we want to be able to see good amounts. We want to know that there's 30 mils and 40 mils happening. And colostrum's produced in very small amounts, like 3 to 5 mils, and that's all a baby's tummy can hold in those first few days. It's tiny, so. Putting 30 mils of formula in there is a lot for them. Mm-hmm.
What's a simple action anyone can take to support breastfeeding moms during the Breastfeeding Awareness Month, and even just
Always. Get themselves educated, have a little read, have a little look at something. Ask them if they need something, ask, well, if they're breastfeeding, can I get you anything? If you're there with your friends and they're feeding their baby, especially if it's, early stages, it can be quite difficult. It's a bit fiddly, can I get you a sandwich? Can I feed you? Can I bring you another drink of water? That kind of thing. And remember to be normal, it's very normal, and be normal. It's okay. It's okay if you see a little bit of breast, You don't have to leave the room. It's just, it's very normal. Be normal. It's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I think we touched on this a bit too. Why is breastfeeding, or I should say, why is investing in breastfeeding support a win for the economy and not just families?
Yeah. It's been able to, reducing the costs of healthcare. If babies are breastfed, we're hoping that they're going to be less likely be asthmatic, have eczema, have heart disease, have diabetes, be obese, And all of these things across the world are huge. So if you're giving them off that best start in life, then as they get older, they're not going to require, using up so much money with regards to healthcare. So governments should be ploughing money into the support for breastfeeding to give them that best start in life.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is spend a little bit time doing it now.
Yeah.
Not only for your benefit, but for the health benefit of the child.
Absolutely.
Okay, because you're not midway through, but close to midway through your life. And this will help you with your diabetes, your cancer risk, your osteoporosis risk. So, and now you're setting your child up for more future wins.
Absolutely.
Plus all the immunity stuff.
Yep.
When they're wee ones. So, and not to mention, I'm not sure how much formula would be, but I would, in my practical mind, it would be about $400 a month.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. My God.
It's a lot.
Wouldn't you save that? Okay. You could use that for all the poop.
Yeah.
The Pampers.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of them.
So what is something our listeners can do to champion breastfeeding in the Cayman Islands?
Support whoever you have in your life that's breastfeeding. Make yourself aware. I can't say that enough. Education is key, and look for information that is evidence-based as well, okay? Everybody always likes to give you great information about different things or their experience and their opinion. Everybody has an opinion about things. So it's about making sure that the opinion you're giving has good evidence behind it, and support whoever it is that's breastfeeding, the whole family, making sure that you are there for them, and not to make them feel bad about themselves in any way. If they're struggling and stuff, it's about, okay, listen, we can get through this together. I remember hearing on the radio, they spoke about the breastfeeding support group, how we would look at that, or the breastfeeding websites. Let's have a little look there. So it's about talking about it and talking about good experiences as well. We do like a bit of car crash TV, so we like to tell stories about terrible things that have happened. So it's about great experiences. I have a friend who has breastfed their child for a year, and it was wonderful. It was fabulous. It was really good. So it's about having that positive outlook with it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that I get very uncomfortable. I do.
Yeah.
When I see a mother, so I would say let's learn to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always known it's better for you than that, but I do get,
Yeah.
icky.
It's very difficult and it's hard, and that's why I say be normal. It's hard. 'Cause
be normal.
You're a bit like, as a midwife, I see lady parts all day, every day. So, it's no big deal, but I understand that, it's like, okay, hold on a wee second. But it's then that can be difficult for the mum, because she's like, oh, I don't want to breastfeed right now because I've got everybody visiting, and then that becomes a big thing. So it's a bit like, okay, learn to be a little bit uncomfortable. It's okay. It's there's nothing bad is going to happen. It's all good. It's all good.
Anything else you'd like to add that I haven't asked?
No, I think we've covered. Educate, ask for help, ask for support. The midwives at HSA are there all the time. Utilise us as a support. When you're online, if you're looking for things, make sure you're looking in the right places. Lots of opinions online. Look for good websites. UNICEF breastfeeding website's really good. The HSA website will point you in all those directions as well. So,
and if someone has a baby at, say, another hospital and they're having trouble, they could still call you? And,
absolutely. Yep. Just give us a telephone call. I know there's clinics around and about that have lactation consultants within them as well. But yeah, you can just call Women's Health Department there, and they're good. And the breastfeeding support group, midwives from HSA are there previous breastfeeding mothers are there, old midwives, and no, I don't mean old as in, I mean they haven't worked, they're maybe not working there anymore.
Retired.
Yeah, retired midwives and NICU nurses as well are all within the support group as well. So yeah, seek the help. Seek and you will find.
That's wonderful. You've been listening to me interview Claire Gray, a midwife at HSA, on For the Health of It, we are moving you to the life you want.
When I first started going to healthcare pharmacy, it